Welcome everyone to our next Digging for Gold. We are returning to Saheeli Kitten. Now for those who don't know, the Saheeli Kitten deck revolves comboing with Saheeli, the Kitten, Displacer Kitten and the Mox generator from Alchemy. However, this deck did get recently an upgrade, as you'll see as we go through the matches here, with the arrival of Sun Titan. For those of you who don't know, before Felidar Garden was printed, a slightly more jankier combo with Saheeli was 2 Saheelis and a Sun Titan to create infinite Sun Titans. And that's our goal today. We've added Sun Titans to the deck. We still have all of our usual synergies like our invasions here of Asgul. And we're going to try and make infinite Sun Titans. Our opponent's undefeated rehab appears to be on some kind of Abzan counters Abzan life gain deck. We've got a pretty solid hand here, but nothing too major. What I'm going to use is the Invasion of Ergamon, because what we can do is get the treasure here, and then next turn we can just fire off an Niv-Mizzet. Our lands are a bit awkward because we've drawn 3 of our basics. Well, we have 3 of our basics, sorry. Our opponent now has something that will get around the... Right. I consider what I'm trying to do here, but I ultimately do go with Niv-Mizzet.
Reload!
Again, this is not the optimal list for the Saheeli deck. I believe that a Jeskai version is probably the superior mode that you should look to build. Now, I'll show you why in the second match we play here. But in our first one here, we are struggling. We have a lot of stuff, but ultimately we don't have... We have things that have got too big for us to deal with. So what I'm looking to set up here, and I desperately could have done with another land, is I'm looking to use Displacer Kitten. So, next turn I can Displacer Kitten, cast another Invasion of Asgul, blink the initial invasion, and make him sack 2 creatures. They have a Soul Warden, they have a lot of stuff, and they have a Feed the Swarm, so our Niv is gone. So we are pretty much dead here, I think, because even if we do okay, we find our 5th land slowly, but this one's away from us, because even sacking 2 creatures, we still have a lethal threat on the board. So, creature deck, we just bring in a ton of interaction. Deck list is below in the description if you want to look at this. I don't recommend crafting it. I would recommend Saheeli and Sun Titan if you're putting them in maybe a Jeskai shell. Maybe I'll experiment with that in the future, but for right now I want to continue experimenting. This hand is questionable, but I keep it on the strength of Assemble the Team here. And our opponent has Ozolith, so it's basically an Abzan life gain counters deck, which is really cool. Didn't mind losing to that first game. Let's hope we can get lucky with some cards here. They drop in a Johnny's Pridemate. I go for a controversial play here. I run out Saheeli because I'm hoping that our opponent has narrow tunnel vision with Planeswalkers like certain players do. They will just go hard on killing a Planeswalker. They play a Veto, the Dust Rose, hits Saheeli down to 2. We can play a land here. I consider my options. It's a little awkward, but what I can do here is assemble the team, see what I could find. So I have most of the combo here, but I choose the Izzet Charm because what I want to do is I want to kill the Pridemate before it gets counters. We want a land drop, so we keep that. We're going to wait till our opponent tries to swing in or trigger something to get life. They have 4 mana, so if they have a company it would be very bad here. They go in to try and kill Saheeli, so let's zap the Pridemate. Keep Saheeli alive. They play a Phyrexian Missionary. Plus Saheeli again. Like I said, we're just going to keep her alive. We don't need that land, so we'll get rid of that. We can use the Invasion of Asgul here to trigger. We only have 1 black, which is a little awkward. But forcing them to sack a creature here is important. They get rid of Veto, which indicates to me they're just going to put more pressure on Saheeli. We'll get a Mox Opal for later. The good thing about Quicksilver is we can just manifest it and see if we need it. They get a Pride Mate. They have a Feed the Swarm. They hit Saheeli down to 2. We're still on 20 even though we've had a very hard time getting stuff. We find another Saheeli, but I'm going to scroll to the bottom. We do need 2 for the Sun Titan combo, but right now I just want to find Niv or anything else to get out of this. They play a card, I have no idea what it is, but it's basically counter payoff, I think. They actually decide to swing in on us, which is really weird here, and just let it go. So I'm going to get rid of the Primate, cycle the land. We find a Growth Spiral, which is fun. We can scry a land to the bottom, use the Growth Spiral to grab another invasion. We'll use that. See what they sack on their turn. They sack the Horn Beetle, which is interesting, and then we pass. Now they're welcoming vampires down, and their Ozolith puts the counters on Phyrexian, so they could kill Saheeli here, which they do. Find another land, which is fun. Can you tell from the tone of my voice that I am having fun remembering how this was? That's me scrolling through the deck just to check that I actually have other spells, like Niv-Mizzet's in there. I think my frustration came from the fact that this is not an 80 card deck, and my consistency with 3 Nivs, well, maths wise, wasn't the greatest. We do hit another Saheeli here, which is pretty fun. So we can use Saheeli here, we find a Helix. I decided to get rid of this. We're going for the combo here. So here's the deal. Saheeli's in the graveyard. No matter what happens to Saheeli, if we can find a Sun Titan, we'll be okay. They welcoming vampire, draw a card, play a Soul Warden, draw another card. They're going wider than I can deal with here. We'll keep Saheeli alive with the Quicksilver. We have 2 Mox Opals, which would be hilarious if we were playing Affinity or any other list like that. We pass, we Saheeli, scry a land to the bottom, we cycle a land to find another land, I cycle another land to find Niv-Mizzet finally. Now, unfortunately, they play Voice of the Blessed here, so it starts getting some life. They get another life, play Exquisite Blood, so we are in a lot of trouble here. They leave Saheeli alive and put us down to 5 here. But we top deck the Sun Titan, so this is where we can go off now. So, we play Sun Titan. I'm going to return Saheeli, because I just get paranoid about breaking the combo. So, we -2 a Saheeli, create a hasty copy of Sun Titan. That allows us to reanimate a Saheeli. We Legend Rule the other Saheeli to get a second activation. Now, this is significantly quicker than the combo we explained previously between Infinite Mox Opals. However, as I said, very much enjoyed this. So this is the combo, we've pulled it off, ladies and gentlemen. Unless there's some unsavory business, but they are tapped out. They are getting life here, but they're getting 1 life per turn, and we are creating a 6/6. So there'll essentially be a point where we will have a lethal on them. But I can't believe the opponent made us do this. They're gaining life, making a huge creature. We can also cast our opals here, funnily enough, to give us mana. Because all of these titans are artifacts as well. Wouldn't give us like anything substantial, but it's just a funny little fact here. But yes, this is, as I said before, I feel that this, combined with the other existing shell with Displacer Kitten and Safari, would probably create like a really cool deck in Jeskai. Maybe it's something someone should look into. Unfortunately not me, I do not have that patience. This is one of the frustrating things here. At least the arena timer hasn't come out, I'm counting the damage here. We go to combat, swing all in. Something goes wrong, so I have to manually do this. We also get the attack triggers off the Sun Titans. So we'll just grab back everything out of our graveyard. Yeah, casual 60 damage, reanimate every little creature and land in our graveyard. I'm going to leave the Saheeli in. And our opponent finally concedes. A little hesitant there. We're going to bring back in a Clarion, I think. We're going to go down Quicksilver, unfortunately. I feel that we have to go for the Titan line here. The Titan line is more efficient. So, third and final match, but we've already achieved our goal. We went for the optimal line. We played and comboed with a Sun Titan Saheeli list. So the Star of a Soul Warden. We're going to land here. I'm going to use a Fabled Passage because I can basically wait and see what they play to see if I need to respond with something scarier. The Voice of the Blessed being basically in a Giant's Primate makes me think that I definitely need to be able to exile it. So we're going to wait for that. We draw a blue source because we're never not punished. And we'll immediately exile a Voice before it gets too crazy. See what our opponent plays on their turn. They are stuck with only white lands at the moment. They do find black. Play a Welcoming Vampire. We'll carry on that before they get to draw any cards and gain any more life. Opponent finds a green, plays a Shaper's Sanctuary, which is quite funny because the Invasion of Ergamon doesn't actually target. They play a Shieldred, which would be terrifying if we didn't have this Edict in our hand. Yeah, Shieldred, we've got our own Edict. Eat that. They play a Prosperous Innkeeper, play a Horn Beetle, the thing we saw before. We'll play a land here. We do not have all 5 for Niv here because we still need green, which has just come down. But we'll keep a Displacer Kitten here because we can do some crazy stuff here. So let's cast a Saheeli, blink the Invasion. This is why we run the Invasions in this deck, if you hadn't seen previously in the video. Then we can Saheeli, copy the Displacer Kitten, cast another Invasion. That'll let us blink the Invasion of Ergamon and blink the Saheeli. Now this isn't infinite, but it's going to be enough to just make them concede. Now you might be forsaken if you see those two matches of thinking, wow, this deck looks pretty decent, maybe I should craft it. Well, let this game here against Polar Kraken be an indicator of why you shouldn't craft it. This is Rakdos Ring, which is currently the strongest deck in the meta, using the One Ring and Bowmasters and the Pirate Captain. I had no idea about it until I started playing the format, but I went up against it, and I'll just summarize this by saying, once they've resolved that One Ring, if you can't immediately answer it with a counterspell or immediately destroy it, you pretty much have lost this game. And at this point, I didn't have in the main deck or in the sideboard an answer to the One Ring, so that's something I've got to look for in the future, a way to deal with it. So yes, this initial game here is me thinking that it won't be that bad, but unfortunately by the time this goes on here, they have a handful of removal and sacrifice, and they have the ring ticked up to 2. There's the captain to get basically really synergistic shooters out of their hand. At this point I'm just going to cast Niv-Mizzet and I have no idea what to do from there. We find some okay cards, but the problem is the One Ring is just going to outvalue us here, and as I said before, I didn't put in an answer to the One Ring. So while we're just watching the rest of this match play out, we'll explain the other parts of the combo. If you look at the deck list, what you basically have is Saheeli combos with the Sun Titans. So if you have Saheeli, Sun Titan as you saw earlier, that's a line combo. Now, Saheeli, a Displacer Kitten, and a Quicksilver Lapandry is another infinite combo because you cast a Mox. That will let the Displacer Kitten flick a Saheeli, which can then copy the Quicksilver to make another Mox. So you make infinite mana and infinite 1/1s that way. Now if you want to put those synergies into a deck because you think it's cool, I'd recommend you also add the Teferi Time Raveler, because his -3 lets you bounce the Mox with the Displacer Kitten. You basically have Teferi and a Kitten and a Mox. You bounce the Mox to your hand with Teferi, draw an additional card, then you play the Mox again, the Kitten will blink Teferi, giving him another activation. I think those synergies would be great to build around in a Jeskai synergy deck. However, it's nothing I've come up with yet. As you can see here, our opponent just resolves the Bowmasters. We do get rid of their One Ring here, but unfortunately, it's just too much stuff, as we say. Yep. They are down to 3, so I was pretty hopeful here, but they find a Fable. They're going to be able to loot away more cards, draw more cards with the Orc Master. We're going to just use a Growth Spiral here. That gives them another trigger from the Orc Army. We'll assemble the team. Looking for Clarion. We do find it. We can get rid of their board here. Yes, but as I said, so they draw the One Ring. It's just over here. It's 1-for-1 with the One Ring, and they have way more action. This final match is going to be 4 times speed because I went up against a guy playing a 300 card deck. I have no idea why, but we do pull off the combo here, so I just wanted to show it off in this list and say that yes, so all in all, we digged and we hit gold. We hit our target, which was to perform the Sun Titan Saheeli combo, and all in all, it felt pretty strong. It felt pretty good. Again, don't craft it, please, but if you want to play with this synergy, I recommend a Jeskai shell. But please enjoy it, and I hope you have a good time. Enjoy the rest of this video as it runs off.